Barak the Yahawah, Barak the Yahawashi, Barak the Yahawah, Barak the Yahawashi, Barak the Yahawah, Barak the Yahawashi. Okay, double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone. Honest you brothers that be pushing this truth in sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. And you know, this is gonna be a relatively short video. Okay, dealing with the true history of England. Okay. And pretty much with this thing out there with the so-called royal wedding, of which, barring Harry, most of that line of people that call themselves royal are actually German. You got to check out that history. They're actually German so-called Jews. But what you have was within Europe, and I'm just going to give a quick snippet of it and show you how ESAU pretty much gives you half truths. Because in this article, they got this chick, all right, and they're basically saying Britain's black queen, all right, of which you got to check out that word queen too, because that really means you know, we us as Israelites, we didn't have no queens, because queens were like the top whore inside the whorehouse, if I remember the definition of the real word. So what they have you believe is like you never had no ESAU just ruled Europe for the longest, and that's not the truth. Okay, all right. So they say a portrait of Queen Charlotte. So they're giving you a bit of truth there. The wife of King George II. Okay, an American actress. You see the chick over there, and you know she's wedding this dude Prince Harry out here, and they'll have you believe those were the only two people of color to ever been anywhere close to a position of power within Europe. And that's the contra-wise. Okay, see, I say at Great Millstone, we do the digging, man. Okay, we do the dirty work. And what you find from the dirty work is you find out that pretty much the whole of Europe, okay, the whole of Europe was ruled by men of color. Okay, you have people of color out here within Europe, okay, and especially out there within places like Spain, Portugal. Because when you check out the history, excuse me for the wind and that, okay, when you check out the history, you find out from the history that it was ships coming from Spain, okay, slave ships coming from Spain. Those were the first slave ships that was taken out there into the Americas. It wasn't some boat going from Africa. It was a boat coming from Europe. So now, what was the history of those people that was coming from Europe? Well, you find out that they was out there ruling, okay, within Europe, within England, okay, Spain, Portugal, all of these types of areas, right up until the rise of right up until the rise of the so-called Jews, starting first and foremost with the house of the Borgias, okay, the first crime family. Okay, so with the rise of the Borgias, you had it to where you had the diminishing of the power, the stronghold of the rule, okay, the dark skin rule. And when I say black, I'm not talking about just black, we're talking about the Israelites, okay, because some people have you believe out there that just all black people are the same, but we know all white people ain't the same. We know that all Asian looking people ain't the same. An Asian person could comprise of a Chinese person, which is not the same as an Indian person, and so on and so forth. Okay, you got the Arabs out there, and that's just a mixture of all types of people out there. Okay, and we all know that they ain't all the same people. Okay, that's why the scripture says that what the Messiah has put a difference between who? Between the Egyptians and the Israelites, because we got more flavor, we got more funk, and ultimately we're supposed to be ruling above those Egyptians, man. And as we get into this time of information being revealed on this devil and how he's hidden the records and how he's making it out like he's just had rule over the entirety of the whole earth forever and ever. Okay, as we get into that stage and the nakedness of this whole, which is America, Babylon, as spoken about within the book of Isaiah, the 47th chapter. Okay, you're gonna see more and more stuff like this coming out. Okay, so I'm gonna just go through these snippets, and ultimately what I'm gonna do is I'll go to the book of Revelations and show you that really ESAU went into a period of perdition for about a period of 1,000 years. And so this period of 1,000 years goes from the 1600s, 1700s backwards 1,000 years up until the demise of the so-called Roman Empire. Okay, so from the Roman Empire, you had a period of 1,000 years of just a dark skin, you know, Israelite rule. I won't say dark skin because that's really a homage, paying homage to this disinformation about the black Hebrew Israelites, of which we are not black Hebrew Israelites. Okay, that ESAU pushes out there. That makes it look like it's what? That it's just a simple-minded racist group. When this is about genes. Okay, this is about the lineage of the 12 tribes of Israel, which they're going to come looking like every shape, shade, form, and color out here upon the face of the planet right now, man. Okay, so without much further ado, I'm just going to, you know, read a little bit of this. It's not really my strong suit. Okay, the history of Europe and, you know, the later part of the history of Europe. I focus my studies more on the ancient history. So, Lord's will, in the future, I may link all of them bits and pieces up. Okay, so it says here the Moorish kings of Europe, King Charles Stuart, the second, the Black Boy King of England, 1630s to 1685, and that fits right into that time period of 1,000 years of Israelite rule over Europe. Okay. Like I said, this is not my strong suit, so if I make a mistake in reading something that was really a bone, just forgive me for that. But see, the point still remains, because you got books like Nature Knows No Color Line and all these kind of books that goes to show you that it ain't just two people of color that was in any position of being called a prince or queen or whatever, or princess or queen or whatever. You had a whole dynasty for about 1,000 years of people of color, okay, Israelites ruling within Europe. And they don't tell you about this. Why? Because they, as it says within the scriptures, they go in all over the world covering the faces of the judges thereof. Because if you really knew your heritage, then you would be in a different state of mind. That's why we call this place a mental captivity, because they put a blockade on your history, a blockade on your mentality. Okay, so that you don't rouse up, man. Okay, so that you don't try to overthrow your masters, if you will. Okay, so that's supposed to be Charles Stuart II. It's a black boy king. You can see the picture there. Okay, what else have we got here? You know, it goes into the different things in there. You know, it'll be a good read, and I know brothers have done videos like this before, and you know, check them out. Okay, so that's just one example. What else have we got here? Okay, so we got here, this is called When Black Men Ruled Europe. It says the Moors of Spain. And I hate that, like I said, I hate that word, because it's really not, it's an exclusive term, right? The Israelites ain't just going to come looking like dark-skinned people, okay? Matter of fact, when you check out the history of certain kings within Israel, namely King David, okay, well, he had, he would have been what people call as mixed race, okay, because his grandmother was a Moabite. But does that mean he wasn't an Israelite? No, he was an Israelite by way of his father Jesse. Okay, all right, and his grandfather Boaz, okay, had a wife of a Moabite. Okay, and there's many instances within the scriptures where a certain king or a certain a person of power would have had one of the their mother was one of the heathen women, meaning to say that they're Israelites, but their form factor would have been mixed with the external form factor would have been mixed with I was going to say the seed, which would have been way off, but really with the earth, okay, of these, which is, because you plant your seed within the earth, okay, with the earth of one of these heathen women. So you can understand, they would have been breeding with these heathen women, but the seed, okay, the apple still remains the same. Now, if you know anything about horticulture, you find out that you can vary how a product tastes, a seed tastes, or how it even looks, by planting it in certain areas, planting it within certain soils, okay, right? So you can vary that, but it's still gonna be a lemon, okay? You're not gonna plant a lemon seed out there within Central Asia out there and get an apple from that lemon seed. That's just not gonna happen, okay? And the same thing applies for the seed of Israel. You're gonna have it to where Jake's were laid up with heathen women, okay, or white women, so you can understand. The children would have came out looking mixed race and all of that. But they're still Israelites, okay? But see, they're saying just black ruled when blacks ruled Europe, and that's just not a correct statement, okay? But nevertheless, for the purposes of this video, let's carry on. So it says the Spanish occupation by the Moors of North Africa, which is incorrect again, because these were Israelites, these were Jakes, okay, spreading forth from Rome, okay, because you had a period of time of rule of Israelite rule of Rome after the fall of the Edomite rule of Rome. Okay, you had it to where Jakes, Israelites, they ruled Rome for a period of 1,000 for a certain amount of time. That was known as the Holy Roman Empire. But you find out in the history there was nothing holy about it. You had the Council of Nicaea, and they was mixing up doctrine, Greek mythology with the scriptures. So there was nothing holy about that. Okay, so let's continue here. And you see images and paintings, okay, of noble men, kings, and so on and so forth. Okay, out there within Spain and Portugal. Now these individuals later became Muslims. Okay, so their seed is going to be spread out there between the Muslims, but they would have been Israelites too. Okay, so I know I'm touching on a few different points, but you can see the images, man, the paintings, and you can see the captions underneath it. It's showing you that it ain't just going to be a case of this chick that's Harry's wife and Queen Charlotte. Those were the only two noble efforts by Israelites to be in any of which I don't know if this chick is an Israelite, but we just use that term black for lack of a better term. Okay, you ain't gonna just have it. It's not the case that these are just the two individuals that's ever been anywhere and in any position of royalty, right? And I know for you Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, that comes as a shock to you that really you was in noble positions, man. Okay, but through I'm flicking through this as I'm talking, so check out the captions and that, and you'll see it's saying it's saying they had the name and the position of these people. Okay, all right, so pretty much that would, for you Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, that might come as a shock to you that you was actually ruling the world for a period of time, man. A significant period of time. You was actually ruling the earth longer than Esau was ruling the earth. Because really Esau, all right, he ruled in the times of the Romans and the Greeks and he fell. And then now he's ruling now for a period of what? 300, 400 years? But really now we're coming to the end of his kingdom. Okay, that's why information like this is coming out. Okay, that's why information like this is coming out. Okay, because it takes away his power. See, that thing of secrecy, this is a good one, by the way. That thing of secrecy of, okay, we rule the earth and we've just ruled the earth forever and ever. It's coming out that that's not the case. Okay, even these Tudors out here. Okay, and I know this line. They was Jakes. Okay, King Henry VIII was a so-called man of color. Okay, all right, and that was all hidden. Why to make Esau's rule that more powerful, because when you have it to where people subjected unto you think that you've been in rulership forever and ever because you've completely destroyed the records or you've hidden the records rather more, then that's just a powerful rule, because they're just not going to think that they're not going to think on a high level at all. Okay, but see, when you see an information like this coming out, it ain't just like it's two people that's ever been in any royal position. No, it's a whole line of people. Okay, really the whole nation of Israel is royalty, man. And we've always been in a position of royalty up until the point wherewith the Most High judged us for our iniquity. And that's why we fell by way of the thing called the Black Death. Now, I wonder why, if a man has always called himself everything that he's touched white or illuminated, why is he going to term it the Black Death? Okay, that's an important question to ask. So this is dealing with the Tudors. Again, I'm not going to read all of this. This is not really my strong suit or anything like that. Okay, this type of history. But pretty much when you read this, or when you read this, it should talk about the black, rather more. I'm using that term black loosely. Okay, it should really talk about how the Tudors were really people of color. Okay, now let's go into the scriptures now, into the book of Revelations, bottomless pit, and let's deal with this let's deal with this in terms of the scriptures. Okay, so Revelations 9:1, it says, "And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star from heaven fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key to the bottomless pit. He opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of it, and and the smoke of it was of a great furnace, and the sun and the air was darkened by reason of the smoke, and they came out of it. Is that the one I want? Is that the one I want? No, that's not the one I want. My apologies. That's not the right scripture I'm looking for. I think it's that old serpent. Right, okay. I think Revelation is the 17th chapter. So, yeah. Testing my knowledge of finding the scriptures here. Another scripture I want, but I forget the placement. What's that? It's not right. Okay, just bear with me. You know, we do these things on the fly. Okay, so sometimes you're gonna have it to where you know, it doesn't flow as freely as I would like it to. Okay. Bear with me. Let me just find the scripture right quick. So this, it says the serpent. Let's find the scripture. Here we go. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, I was getting nervous there. Revelation 20:3, and it says, and cast him. All right, let's read from up. Right, okay, so Revelation 20:2, it says, and laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, right, that is the devil and Satan. And why is he called the devil and Satan? Because he is the adversary. Satan meaning adversary. He is the adversary of the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, the Israelites. Okay, he's the adversary of the earth. That's why everything dies in his wake. Okay, and it calls him certain. It calls him that serpent because he's a subtle creature. Okay, he's very deceitful. So from the first initial article that I had posted, okay, the premise, okay, who have you believe that these were the only two people of color? Okay, Israel, you know, I won't say, I don't know whether this chick, Markle, or whatever her name is an Israelite, Markle or whatever. I don't know if she's a Jake or whatever, but Esau will have you believe those were the only two people of color that ruled Europe. And that's just not the truth. We've just seen that. Okay, so that's why he's called the devil, all right, the deceiver, diablos, Latin, it means deceiver. Okay, and Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years. Now, why does it say bound him for 1,000 years? Because when you check out the history of that great dragon, and why is he called a dragon? Why are all of these empires named after beasts? Because beasts devour. They eat. Okay, they consume men. They consume flesh. That's what beasts do. A lion is a beast. Okay, and it consumes. Okay, so the great red dragon is that Edomite rule that has just consumed all of the people upon the face of the earth. Just ate them up. Okay, and that's why it's called that beast. And it was casting. It was and it says and bound him 1,000 years and cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up. That he should deceive the nations no more till the 1,000 years be fulfilled, and after that he must be loose a little season. And that's the time period we're living in right now. Oh, when did that? That's the time period we're living in right now. Okay, we're living in the time period where that beast is being loose a little season. Okay, and now he's just going about deceiving everybody, making them believe that he's just been in rulership since the time of the Greeks and so on and so forth, which is not the truth. You've just seen that. Okay, so pretty much, hopefully that was of edification. You know, maybe Lord will put the spirit on me to really go into that history, sort of, you know, modern type history, and I'll do a special on it. So with that, I'm gonna say, oh, praise unto YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, double honesty, apostles of Great Millstone. Honestly, brothers, that be pushing this truth in sincerity. Shalom.